with a bit of technical, technology, as you might want to put it. It just did a bit of refreshing. And here we are. And like Frank says, this is what we love to do to make sure that our viewers from around the globe, from wherever they are, Ghana, Uganda, Russia, Jamaica, Sierra Leone, United Kingdom, we're here to make sure that you're up to date with what is happening around the globe. But when it's exactly 11 o'clock, you know where it is, all the way down to Nigeria. Some say, do not call me Nigerians anymore. I'm Yoruba, I'm Biafra, I'm Middle Belt. But like Frank says yesterday, we still have to use the phrase Nigeria until the country finally goes into disintegration, for those that believe so.
Okay, okay. How are you doing, sir?
Well, it's good. It's quite a little bit windy. It's been a bit raining since morning. I'm very good. I've been very busy because you got to remember today is the 14th of September. So quite a lot is going to be happening in America within the next 6 hours because they are behind. So that means in another 6 hours from now, things will start getting very busy with so many of the activities planned and laid about. So we are also making sure that we can pick up the signal from there as well later on. So I've been very busy since morning, but here we are again about to give the update from what is happening in Nigeria this morning.
Okay, now that is the UN General Assembly event that you are talking about there, right?
Yes, you're quite right. The general, which is the 76th General Assembly, is taking up, within the next couple of hours. And as you can tell, there will be quite a lot of noise. There will be quite a lot of activities. And it's not just the Nigerians. I mean, this is an opportunity that is well used by most countries around the world to make sure that they can take that advantage to lay their complaint, their grievances, because there's quite a lot of issues around the globe. And, UN General Assembly is one place where all the countries around the globe have their president or their representatives. And from information that we are being told as well, it seems it's going to be a very busy one for the security within the perimeters of the United Nations building.
Well, let me go to Frank quickly, and then we come to the update. Now, you see this event that is going to happen. Yeah. Then like me saying that, well, those who are protesting for what separation or who have any cause at all. Yesterday we had an incident in London where we had people who were protesting, and they went on the F-25 because we are talking about environmental protection. When they blocked the F-25 for hours on air, and then people were very, very angry about that whole protest. I've directed them that they should go to China if they really want to make an impact. I know people will say, why am I saying that? But do you think that people converging at the UN General Assembly makes their voices heard rather than getting maybe the UN itself giving the representatives of those various bodies a chance to come and air their views?
Yeah, actually, sometimes it's tough for what they call it, the protesters as well, because if you ask yourself how best do they make their case, I do however think that sometimes they get to extreme. You cited, for instance, the new one that was staged, was it yesterday?
Yesterday on the M25.
Called the Insulate of Britain. A new group that thinks that government should move to insulate houses more as a way of bringing the climate, having impact of climate. Yes, China, yes, but individually, I think we can also make a difference. And if you look at yesterday, for the protest was about Britain, because the way the houses are, they are asking for their insulation. I know that governments will also do it now. So the agenda, the climate, having forward, we push it forward. Yeah, China, yes, we will be dirty. We've taken emergency measures on what they call diesel cars and other things. So, varied arguments will be made. But in my view, protest is right. I mean, it's one way of people making themselves known. Their cause, whatever it is going on. If they don't protest, how would you know? A lot of people who were on M25 yesterday, I do understand. One elderly woman, for instance, who has booked appointment to see a GP, waiting for 2 years. And as a director of the protest, she couldn't
make that appointment.
She couldn't make that appointment. That individually, the impact will be great. But collectively, you look at it, what is what?
That will be
Will I subscribe to them cause maximum destruction too? I would have thought that they would go to Downing Street and block or go to Parliament House. They go to Parliament House or something like where the decision makers are.
Yeah.
But when it becomes basically your protest now becomes a weapon against the ordinary people who are just going about their streets. What is what drives me because at the end of the day, even if I have any sympathy for the protesters, climate protesters. Yesterday that woman wouldn't have
she would never, yeah.
So I think we just have to look at how we choose our protest, where we actually launch it. But yesterday the protest the destruction was massive, not only one junction, about 4 or 5 junctions.
Yeah.
You move from one to another.
Thinking that you're going to exit, you can't exit.
It's very unfortunate. But I think they need to do that. The attack is more.
Yomi, do you think that if the UN is giving those who are fighting this cause, those who are going to protest on behalf of what do you call them? What's the name that has been given to them?
Well, these are the indigenous, alliance, which is, the different ethnic minority of the.
Yeah,
So,
you have a name. They have a name that whether the acronym that has been used. You normally use it. I've forgotten it.
yeah, that's the Ninas.
Ninas.
Ninas, yeah, yes.
Now,
Ninas,
you
yeah.
think that if the UN should give you the opportunity for give the Ninas an opportunity for maybe one of their representatives to come on the stage and say, hey, this is what is going on. I mean, that would rather make more impact than standing out there having few placards and making a bit of noise there. What do you think?
Well, you're correct. I mean, yes, they've been engaging the United Nations since 2003, and quite a lot of, what they've been told, to put together is what they are actually doing as well. So it is not new that, these activities that might be happening outside the United Nations building, there will also be the situation where more of these activities of engagement, which is what you've just asked. I mean, a lot of people would be definitely expecting, United Nations, to give them the opportunity to also speak out. But again, these are, measures that a lot of Nigerians and a lot of those alliance will be expecting as well. Give me the remote.
My only worry with some of the protests on the UN is that it gets drawn out because at the end of the day, a lot of protests that is going to happen.
Yeah.
For instance, at the football this time, you're going to see a lot of climate protests that is going on. I just hope that my brothers and sisters from Nigeria who might be protesting on the heinous crimes that are taking place are able to have opportunity to present their petitions to those who matters, who should be serving. They should be the opportunity to serve the United States senators and others if that is what will also help them to really support for their cause. But the UN itself, we know people travel there, but the security, especially coming at the back of a few days after 20 years anniversary of 9/11, and with the events that has happened in Afghanistan, ending what they call the abrupt end to the US and other allied occupation after 20 years exiting this thing. And we as picking information that some of those who were evacuated are actually Islamic terrorists, or basically people with hardlines with infiltrated you expect that the security around the UN, this General Assembly, is going to be, a very, very tight one. Yeah.
Okay, listeners, it is Radio 2, okay? The Tuesday edition of the morning show, updates from Nigeria. So we go back to Mr. Koiki for some of the updates. But fire. 57 market fires in 10 months. In Oyo, I mean, so what is all that about? Is it because the market women? I mean, you go to Ghana and you see some of the market area, you see the electric cabling or the way the normal wiring has been done. And you see people tapping because either they cannot afford to have their own lines that have been run for them, or just doing that, and that causes fire. You cannot at times just blame that the government is causing fire, or no. At times there's acid. We agree to that, but when we the main cause of this. So what have you said about this fire and the origination as well?
Well, you're quite right. When we look at these report that have just come out today, which is telling us that 57 market fires in 10 months. That also means that there is some kind of crisis that needs to have been looked into, by the representatives of the people, which are the government officials. I mean, we're not talking about fires in just one particular state. This fire has spread across, from the southeast to the southwest, but mostly within the southwest, where we've seen a lot of the big market, as you might want to call it, whether it's a spare part market or just the normal day-to-day goods. So, I mean, when some of these fires were happening, it was also a suggestion by a lot of people that maybe more security should have been put in place. But for people like these individuals named Modupe Yusuf, the day she lost everything to a market fire will forever be etched in her memory. From running a provision store, she has now become a pepper seller overnight to hold body and soul. I mean, when people that are listening to us from around the world might think, well, what about the insurance? This is a different thing in Nigeria, where insurance is not what a lot of market traders would have put in place. And also, insuring the market. I mean, if I was meant to be selling in Dustin Market or Peckham Market, the first thing you must have to hand over to them before you're given a space is what we call the trader insurance that covers you, should in case anything happen to you. But the mother of four was preparing the family dinner in February this year when she received the call that shattered her dreams. Her shop had been gutted by fire. The question then is, who are those responsible, for this fire, and why has this fire? I mean, as a result of this frequent fire outbreak, we can tell you that life would have been threatening, while billions of naira worth of goods have been destroyed, with many rendered jobless and hopeless.
Now, interesting. Let's come to you did mention the insurance. Now, there's something with us, especially Africans, when we talk to, I mean, if somebody is an insurance broker or agent in Ghana, it is, or in Africa, it is difficult for you to sell insurance policy to people because they think that no, it can't happen or it won't happen to me. So when we have incident like this happening, then you find people just from wherever they are to virtually switch.
Yeah, I think the insurance and other aspects are very important. One would expect that by now we should up our games in terms of how we buy insurance. But Africans, even in this country, we don't like buy insurance.
Yeah.
That's a matter of fact.
Yeah.
We see some of these investments as a waste of money, apart from it being enforced by law, like car.
Yeah, or your house, when you get the mortgage first, you need to get that insurance.
Yeah, not do it. Voluntarily, I wonder how many of us have life insurances, how many of us have critical illness insurance, even how many of us have thought of probably insurance to protect our children.
Yeah, when we pass to that, yeah.
And again, you realize that as a direct result of that, come to the fire, as a direct result of that, we are losing out on opportunities. If you look at our great grandfathers or our mothers and sisters in this country, let's assume my father lived in this country. My father died. If my father had bought an insurance policy, it would have been one good way of passing down to me some generational wealth.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because there's money. Actually, if you're saving, let's say, £20 a month, £20 a month a year is 240.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's assume 240 times 20 years. Okay. 240 times 20 years will amount to almost 5,000.
4,800.
Call it 5,000.
Yeah.
That is what you amounted. That's for 20 years. Now, assuming you take the policy 500,000 policy. You contributed for that 20 years and you passed on. What you've done, you have given, you have. Now, we will die and our funeral costs have to
become
bear
a burden on
our
children, our family. Yeah.
because we've never taken advantage
Yeah.
of it. Because in this country, a lot of elderly people. That's why sometimes crime also comes in for people like to their parents.
Yeah.
to benefit from
Yeah.
Which is what we want to. Which means that if we clever and smart enough, we should be taking advantage of that within the system. And it applies everywhere. Life insurance, insurance policy. Now, these fires, actually, we have to blame the government squarely for them. We know we have individual responsibilities, but if government has not lead the way, actually, in this country, there's a reason why when you are renting a room out or you are in a house of multiple occupancy, every 5 years you are supposed to, what you call it, update your certificate for someone to come and check whether the house is still, because this cable, everything that has a beginning has an end.
Yeah.
These cables, new laws come about safety measures. They want to see if you're compliant. You might have been using microwaves and other things, putting a lot of strain on it. You go to our markets, like you said, one socket is 13 amps. It tells you that when you overload it past a 13 amp, it's supposed to cut off, right? You see, flex. I mean,
Flex.
you know the flexible. Those flexible wires, they are now becoming even more flexible. Sometimes you look at it, between them. You plug them, they are very, very hot. They are melting. We've all seen it.
Yeah.
In school, I mean, when we used to cook using, you know, the heater, body house.
Yeah, and the
You plug the heater in out sometimes on. You put in a bucket, pour water on it. You realize that some of those extension cords, they melt out. And I'm assuming in the shop, in the market where, uncle, cannot tap it, it's because one, the electricity companies are not free enough to be able to supply everybody with power. You apply for it, you want to get power extended to your place. I mean, it takes a year. And then why do you buy flexible wire and then you extend it? Who conduct health and safety checks in our markets? Okay,
hungry brother, he just comes and he also wants
the local authorities need to do that. There must be a law. The local authorities need to inspect that. The electricity companies of Nigeria have to inspect that. They have to be a system that inspects that. A lot of people have finished polytechnics. They qualified as electrical graduates. They have no job. These are some of the opportunities they will get to be able to get jobs. But if I qualify as an electrical engineer, and there's a law that now tells me that look, all these markets they must comply with certain safety. It becomes it creates a job for me to ensure that because I go inspect, make sure if there's nothing, if there's what they call it's not according to the law, something is done. The person selling cables, makes money. The person selling bulbs makes money. The handy person that I can employ that will help me. And you get the person selling stationery, which I'm going to
right
or the driver that's going to take me, the order, or the person selling measuring tape, the person selling wood or whatever I'm going to do. Also, that is a job creation. That's a job creation. But no, instead of doing that, we allow fires to come and consume everything down. So, whatever we grow, whatever we sow, whatever we use, fire comes and one day
and everything is gone.
But I'm not saying accidents will happen.
Accidents
will happen. Incidents will happen. But the question we then ask, what are we doing to aid minimize the risk? And we are doing that. And I blame government because government needs to be able to direct immediately that from today or in 5 years' time, sure this will not operate. We're coming to it. Okay. It happens in Ghana.
Let me go to Yomi. Yomi, do you think that these individuals, like this lady, are they going to get any help from the state at all?
Well, I mean, the state tend to, say they will give a kind of a compensation, but we do know that those compensation doesn't come true as well. I mean, it took about 2 months from the shop to be rebuilt. The Yaloja, which is the market women, and some other people from the government came. They talk about compensating us, which is what you just asked. We were asked to write our names, what we lost, and the cost, but till now we haven't had anything from them. She said, as a result of this, so I mean, it's easy for somebody else to also be making money out of this, because by putting your name down doesn't guarantee that the money will eventually come to you, but the money might also have been allocated. But again, like Frank says, these are still part of the corruption. And when you talk about job creation, this is what you expect. When you look at the amount of jobs that can be created. But the first thing is you must have the first part of it, which is the health and safety. The health and safety will then be from the local government. From the local government, then we create those kind of little jobs around, just as we see it here in United Kingdom. But it is not so on the other side of the globe.
Well, listeners, let your voice be heard. It is Star Radio UK. 11:31 the time, the TV edition of the morning show. Up this from Nigeria, with me in the studio, Mr. Frank Davis and Mr. Koiki in North London studios. Now let's go on to some of the other stories making the round. Now they are talking about National Assembly having are they going to have the power or the powers to override the open grazing ban that various states have enacted at the moment. We have the Miati Alice who have come out to say that look, this open grazing ban that you brought about is going to bring about chaos or menace in the country. That means that they are not going to adhere to the laws. They're going to go about whatever they have to do. On when it comes to the Fulani heads menace. What is it all about?
Well, I mean, if you remember, I mean, Lagos have also finally signed, that open grazing. A couple of more states are, we're waiting for them to sign it. And what does that mean? I mean, it means that you can no longer move your cows, within the state as you might want to. But the Mieti Allah doesn't seem to agree with this, and the association then called on the National Assembly now to intervene and stop the attempt by the state governors to prohibit open grazing, to curb clashes between farmers and herders across the country. Some of these governors, have enacted the laws banning open grazing. I mean, yeah, we can still see, some states, like I said, are still operating. Notably, this is the resolution made by governors of the 17 southern states after a meeting in Asaba Delta State capital to ban open grazing. The movement of the cat by foot. The governors had said the decision was taken as part of effort to improve security in the region. This started from the 1st of September, which was the deadline to enact the law. But while the law is already operational in several states, like I say, some states are still in the process of passing the bill. But the Mayati Allah, seems that, this is not going to work. The Northern Elder Forums on its part said the proposed plan was an attempt to split the North and subject its people to humiliation and attacks. So you can see that, and also Abubakar Malami, the Attorney General of the Federation, also faulted the decision of the southern governors and likened the resolution to prohibiting spare part trading in the North. So, I mean, it's still a lot of, issues around it, but the governors are not backing down on what they've already, put as the law. Can the National Assembly override a law enacted by the state? On the request of the Mayati Allah, can the National Assembly also intervene and stop the governors? So we will have to see what can be the outcome of it. The National Assembly is just a legislative arm of the government that is saddled with the responsibility of making laws. Other functions of the National Assembly, including confirming nominees of the president, investigating, conducting of ministry, department, and agency. According to Section 42 of the 1999 Constitution, the state that the National Assembly is vested with the powers to make law for peace, order, good governance of the Federation with respect to matters in the exclusive legislative list. So, like I said, powers of the state. Who makes the law in the state? The governors serve as the chief executive of the office of the state. The governors have the responsibility of implementing the state laws and overseeing the operation of the state executive branch. So you can see now, and according to Section 52AB of the 1999 Constitution, says the executive power of the state shall be vested in the governor of that state and may be subject as for say and to provisions of any law made by the House of Assembly, which is the law banning open grazing.
Now, quickly, let me come to Frank and let me pick your brains on this. Now, they are saying that with the southern states banning this open grazing, I mean, they are going to stop. It is the Attorney General who is saying that coming to the north to trade in auto parts can also somehow be stopped. Now the person is selling auto parts there. Does it bring on somebody's business or?
Madness. Let's call it this total madness. What he's saying doesn't make sense a bit. At the end of the day, he is thinking that people should engage in illegality, and because they are from the north, it should be deemed all right. We're talking about people's livelihood.
Yes.
When I'm selling auto parts, how do I destroy others' livelihood? Are you talking about competition? Are you talking about market? Are you saying that because I come to sell someone in the north business, I'm competing with them and therefore I'm taking business away from them? If that's the case, then we can also say, the southern can also say, okay, then you don't drive to the south to even get the access to the port.
Yeah.
So they shouldn't descend into this madness. At the end of the day, even people did not agree that open grazing and the way they destroy others' property cannot be the order of the day. Land is owned by communities, by individuals. You cannot enter. That's trespassing in itself. You get it? So in my view, I mean, these are the kind of people who are speaking without thinking, but they want to please the section of the population where they are support for whatever they are doing comes from. And it's just a matter of, it's a political talk, but it's total madness. It will not work.
Now, Yomi, what has citizens in the south been saying about this particular?
Well, I mean, you got to know the excitement of most of the citizens in the southwest and the southeast and the middle belt on these particular issues. I mean, the Land Act Act gives the governor the control over the lands in their state, so it can be said that the decision of the governor is in line with Section 1 of the Act, which says, subject to provision of this Act, all land compromises the territory of each state in the federation are hereby vested in the governor of that state. So what is the senior advocate of Nigeria saying on this? They're saying that the issue is about the security of the state and the National Assemblies lack the legislative power to intervene.
well, let's the conversation still go on. Out from Nigeria on Star Radio UK Morning Show, the Tuesday edition. Mr. Olaimi Koiki in North London. Mr. Frank is with me here in South London, where we are bringing you this program. But we'll go back to Mr. Olaimi Koiki for some of the other stories making around. Over to you, John.
The other story will be very, very interesting, as a lot of conversation is also going on that. Is it crazy that the Nigerian Navy base is now moved is now moved to Kano? I mean, you would expect a naval base to be very close to the water, but let's just hear the voice of some of the media in Nigeria in response to this.
Yes, it's back.
Yes, the naval base have been moved to Kano, but let us just hear the snip of part of what the media at home are responding to this as well.
Infrastructure should be distributed across the country. Well, you can put up that argument, but there are certain things that do not make sense. A naval base in the desert. It's only in Nigeria that I think that is possible.
Absolutely.
But Nigeria never fails to surprise you. Or rather, our leaders never fail to surprise us.
Before I take your comment, we'll take our final story so you can comment on both. In Katsina State, some Nigerians have thrown the governor of the state, Aminu Masari, under the bus after he signed an error-filled executive order. The executive order, which came into effect on Tuesday, was issued as part of efforts to address the security challenges in the state. In the executive order, the first blunder was the subject matter of the order, the title, which read, Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1991, when in actual fact, the Federal Republic of Nigeria is governed by the 1999 Constitution. The executive order contained other blunders, including the spelling of Nigeria, which was written below the governor's signature as Nigeria. Many Nigerians have shared reactions. Rufai, I would love your comment on this particular subject before you talk about the naval issue.
I'm sure the guy that wrote the
Okay, I think Frank wants to say something. They have just come back to the studio again.
I said that if the person who signed it we get it to spell of Nigeria wrong.
Nigeria.
It is a constitutional award.
Let's hear the view of one of these mainstream media, and then we'll quickly go into the headline.
What Nigeria, as they will call it, Nigeria.
I couldn't even pronounce it.
No,
What do you say?
Nigeria.
Nigeria. Okay, good.
You see, incompetence is just everywhere. This is another brighter grammar moment. Incompetence is just everywhere, and there's nobody to double check it. If a common government dossier cannot be checked properly from errors, then what can be checked properly in this country? You are amazed at the level of incompetence, and we've become a gift that keeps giving every single time. We can't write a paper correctly, and we want to solve insecurity problem. And that's why we do things that we can't even account for. Good point you were talking about, Tundu, about naval bases in England. I had the chance of being in one in Plymouth. Plymouth is like an ocean, big body of water. That's where you have naval bases. But here, we didn't see the Niger Delta. There's a naval base in Sapele, close to the water. It's just very close to where the power station is in Sapele. I've been to that one too. You didn't see all the body of water in Bayelsa. You now take it all the way to the north. And when the people of the Niger Delta are complaining that they are marginalized, you say, how are they marginalized? So we'll go and dig up water in Kano now to form naval base all of a sudden.
So I just leave it there. So at least you've got the reaction of even some of the reporters at home, in terms of moving a naval base to Kano, and I'm sure a lot of Nigerians will be looking into that. So we're going to go straight to some of the other headlines, and I'm going to come back again to you in the studio. It is still Star Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station. I could see live from Abuja. The 4th annual banking and finance conference is already going on as I speak right now, and I could see the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria currently, speaking. So we leave that. Also, police undermining investigation of a rape victim coalition alleges as well. The governor of Oyo State, Makinde, his own 2023 presidential campaign. And likewise, we did talk about that yesterday. Twitter ban, Nigeria loses $360 million revenue within 100 days as well. Also, prominent Edo PDP chieftains and 2 others have been kidnapped. So kidnapping is still a very big business. And I was looking at a report that I also was going to talk about quickly, where someone have looked at a research. And what is the research all about in terms of, you could easily be making 20,000 naira. I'll give the equivalent of what that means when you can move in weapons, AK-47, for the bandits, especially in Zamfara State. So these particular individual I've done the research for the last 10 years, and yeah, I've got it here. 20,000 naira, to transport AK-47, 5,000 naira to transport ammunition inside account of the banditry business in Zamfara State. So let's talk a little bit about that, and I'm going to come back to you in the studio. It's 11:43. According to Mutar Rufai, a lecturer at the Usman Danfodio University, Sokoto, says, according to 10 years research he conducted on the banditry in Zamfara, people make money from transporting arms. In his report titled, I Am a Bandit, a decade of research on the armed banditry in Zamfara State, Rufai says studies have shown that there are over 60,000 weapons in circulation in the Northwest. He said weapons like anti-craft guns, rocket propeller, grenade tubes, general purpose machine gun, AK-47, AK-49, Jury 3 magazines, and among others were found across different bandit camps in the state. According to Rufai, he conducted interview with bandits and also visited some areas across the state, having the gunmen generated income through arms trading, while significant percentage of such funds are spent on drugs, women, betting, phones, and other goods. So this now tells that When we talk about guns are available, it is not just only because of that. Most argument on the source of the weapons revolve around the porous borders, thesis, and inability of security to man over 1,950 official borders that we have in the country. Star Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London, and I'll come back again to you slightly in the studio. But when we talk about 20,000 naira, as at the exchange rate this morning, which is about 7.45, well, give and take, I would say that is just about almost 27 pounds.
Well, listeners, some business listen for you. The 20,000 naira to transport AK-47 and the 5,000 naira to transport ammunition. Some business. But Olayiwola Ayola says that never base in the desert. That's crazy.
Well,
very, very crazy.
No, it cannot be crazy. It cannot be crazy.
They might have.
Look, we know in the Arabs.
Yeah.
What
Dubai.
they do,
Dubai.
what
That's what
they
they did in
do,
Dubai.
created their own water. We know canals are created. So who knows? They might be creating a canal.
Yeah. That money that they are spending to create that canal.
They might be creating a canal. They might be getting the steel from somewhere in Cameroon or somewhere probably from the south. There could be pipes. There could be very huge pipes that are dropped.
Well, it's just the same thing that the oil refinery was taking all the way from Niger to Kaduna, and then they have to transport the crude oil from the Niger Delta back to Kaduna, even though the refinery is not functioning properly. And the transportation system academy was moved to Castina as well in Daura. And the question is, are they going to be using camel for transporting, or what kind of training they'll be having there? So you can tell.
I don't know how they made what we're going to have some marine fighting the Boko Haram.
Yeah.
Instead of them creating something like desert rats.
Yeah.
It's similar to desert rats. When they
They're going to do this. You don't know. Why fly, bro?
I think one people from geology tells us that there's water everywhere. So probably they're going to dig down
and use submarine to attack them.
Yeah.
Okay, we hear you. I'm going to be happy with them. It's just given a clap, and then Prince Adebanjo Israel Gani says good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to you as well. Star Radio UK, update from Nigeria with Mr. Lightning Koiki, and Mr. Frank Dem is here as well. Now, Yomi, let's come to you for the final segment of the update. Over to you.
We just go straight to Twitter, and bandit set home of Zamfara speaker ablaze. This is also coming just right now in Zuma local government. The bandits, they're called bandits, or we call them terrorists. Bandit set home of the Zamfara speaker ablaze. I'm sure it's getting there as we speak. Let's look at some of the other news that is trending out of Nigeria on Twitter this morning. $390 million dollars is what Nigeria has lost in the last 100 days of the Twitter ban that is currently been taking place as well. Also, I'm just looking at these some of the other headline. Even though, okay, I'll take that again. We have collectively defeated our distractions, and IPOB have started trending as number one. It seems, a lot of Biafran tend to use, the Twitter very well. No movement tomorrow, Tuesday, 14th of September. Sit at home. That is coming out from the Twitter handle. Also, from Ifafunsho, the Twitter ban under Buhari's government extended to 100 days, and in that time frame, Nigeria has lost 247 billion. We take the last one. And to release Mazin Amdekano, to release him is a danger. To keep him in DSS custody is more dangerous. To keep him is like to pour fuel on already burning fire. And you know what? It will cost now the Nigerian government and the Igbo political leader are like, what can we do? With a question mark.
Now, a quick one. Frank, let's look at this, the Twitter ban and how much it cost Nigeria as a whole. 247 billion. As to whether it's working or not, I remember when some of our correspondents were there, they were using that. They were using Twitter. So actually, you cannot place it. Meanwhile, you are causing financial loss to the country.
Well, that is what politicians want to do. It's about, the way they fuel jet,
Yeah.
All the leaders and the people who have egos. and everything that fuels that ego is what they go for. And I think it's madness anyway. To think of what they are doing, but it doesn't affect them. It's not their personal money. Every something like that, your cost financial loss will be that is from your end of service benefits. I think that link, any financial loss that you cause, should be deducted. And if you cannot pay all, then you take your asset. They will begin to think. But actually, see, my final take on what is happening in Nigeria is this House of Representative house that has been set up. There's a saying, when they come for people that you think are a distance away, they notice the room and the bed story. That scenario, when the bed was shouting, screaming, the Southerners are screaming. People who have been kidnapped are screaming. And you sit there and think, oh, look,
Just shut up. Just shut up.
Let's nothing happen. Let's get a break. Never a day, as a speaker, have you said that, look, this is a state of emergency that we must declare in our part of the country. That in some far over here, we are suffering from terrorists and bandits. Let's do some. Now your house has been set up.
Reality have set in. Well, thank you very much. Have a lovely day. We'll catch up later.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye. Well, listeners, it is Start Radio UK. That was Mr. Koiki bringing you updates from Nigeria. We've discussed a lot there.
Bye-bye. Well, listeners, it is Start Radio UK. That was Mr. Koiki bringing you updates from Nigeria. We've discussed a lot there. Now, you want to maybe input or whatever you want to do, feel free to do so. The lines will be opened in the next 9 minutes for you to do so as well. But until then, if you want to put it on our Facebook page, I promise I'm going to read it. You want to text or send me. Si wọ́n bí sọ́mọ sílẹ̀ o, ara ló.